I'm here and joined with my good friend from high school, Ben Rupe, sort of the baseball expert. That's why I called him in for today's pod. Ben, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. I'm glad to be on the podcast. Good to finally get back on air. It's been a while for myself, but I like getting on, talking a little sports action. Can't ever complain about that.
Awesome. All right. So basically, like I said, I called you in from the pit, or from the, what do you want to call it? The correct baseball term, Ben. Sorry, I'm not Mr. Baseball like
The
you.
pen.
Yeah, I called you in. Oh my God, you're getting a phone call during this? Oh my goodness. All right.
Busy man. Busy man.
You are. Anyways, so like I said, I called you in. I said, hey, I need you to come in the ninth inning. So basically, what are some of your thoughts on like opening day? If you got to either watch, is baseball's back?
It's good to be back, and
Yep.
I'm one of those people. Like I just enjoy the game. I enjoy it for what it is. I go a little more in depth than most people, but I'm totally fine with doing it on that, and I just enjoy A, being a part of the game at one point in my life, B, watching the game and seeing my favorite team, the Cardinals, develop. And oh man, I'm excited for their future and everything.
Mm.
And then C, it's just baseball to me brings summer. That's what it always has
Right.
for me. And I'm ready to get out of the old Iowa third winter, what we're gonna call it. But I'm excited.
Uh-huh.
I think there was a lot of positives from yesterday. I think spring training went really well for a good amount of details that I think we'll definitely get into. But looking at opening day, I was more excited than I was a few years ago, and I think it's with me being out of college and everything and all that. I think the big thing for me was just there's something to look forward to, even if it was listening on the radio.
Right. So, what are some of your thoughts on some of the new rule changes with with the pitch clock and the shift and the obviously the base being bigger? Those are like the three big ones.
You look at it from a few things, and the first one is there's always going to be a debate between the older generation of baseball and I would say the middle generation, and then kind of like my generation. There's always going to
Mm-hmm.
be a debate between that and whether it's good, whether it's bad. Why are we mixing up with baseball? And honestly, I'm for it. I like it. I think the pitch clock, I'm not looking to, speed up the game. But,
Right.
You look at someone like Valdez from the Astros, who his motion was so methodical, where it was a baby rock step, back and forth, back and forth. That's ridiculous. Like, to me, it's unneeded for the game of baseball. And you know what? I can speak to it as a former collegiate pitcher. I get where, you have to have that like feeling of where you need to step on the mound, you have to be mentally ready to go in your own fashion. But that to me drives me nuts.
Right.
But I will say I think it's brought some big positives. And believe it or not, we're going to have this debate all season. You see it on Twitter, and I think the big one is the pitch clock right now. We haven't talked a ton about the bases and increasing of the size, which I think is a good thing. Do you want to see a collision at second base or third base or whatever the case may be at home? Okay, as a common viewer, yes. But for those guys' safety, it's a good thing. I
Right.
also, I kind of want to circle back into the pitch clock a little bit. What I think brings onto the aspect of it is, it's always big on, okay, we've got to find a way to get the youth involved or like them with baseball, which you could go on a whole different aspect with like the blackouts and all that. But I think the big thing about it is you're going to see more stolen bases. We already have. Spring League this year had saw a lot more stolen bases. Plus, I think with the pitch clock adding it in, you have to, you have to get going. You have to, have to be mentally prepared every single pitch. And what I think does is I think it brings an aspect of the game that was dying. Stolen bases, we don't see it anymore. We don't see anyone like Ricky Henderson ever again.
Right.
And you saw it yesterday with opening day. You saw for the first guy that came to the top of my head, Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna stole, I believe, the first base of the season. And it's an
So.
aspect of the game that we're bringing back.
Right. Yeah. I'm in favor of the pitch clock. Obviously, we can debate about the time if if there needs to be if it needs to be instead of 15 to be to 20, and then obviously when the runner on base, we can make it from 20 to 25. We can have sort of a conversation about that. But yeah, I like the idea of having a pitch clock is that way, because I think at the same time, I think it's an advantage for the pitcher than it is for the batter, because before the pitch clock even was even in the conversation, batters would always as soon as the pitcher would go into motion ready to throw it, then be like stop, he's like timeout, so it's just get in the batter's box, just get in there and swing it. I don't need you to adjust in your gloves and all that just because you may have saw something different in the batter's box or something like that, you know what I mean?
Now, this is where I will get into the conversation and switch it a little bit. One thing when I was, a hitter, and one thing that I was taught, even that, I'm a coach over at Bonneret High School now, and one thing we teach our kid is, okay, let's say you just swung terribly, missed completely, step out of the box, find a focal point on your bat, and readjust. To me, that's where you kind of are on that new, okay, if I'm teaching hitting now, how do I tell my kid, okay, you got to lock in quick, which obviously the pitch clock rule isn't at the high school level. But it's one of those mental aspects that I think coaches are now going to have to start to deal with, where they go, okay, you have to be in the box at 8 seconds. If you don't, which we saw with Rafael Devers yesterday. Rafael Devers is the first person to get called out on the new pitch clock rule. Mm-hmm. You have to find a way to mentally lock back in if you just had a terrible at bat, swing, whatever the case is. So that's where it's that gray area with the pitch clock. And I don't mind it, like I said, and I'm actually in favor for it. I think, I don't like using the words of speeding up the game, but I like the aspect of we are working towards, making the game exciting. That's what I kind of am in favor for. And I think this year especially, which I think is a good thing, we're going to see the game speed up. And I think that actually goes into one of the other things that you could talk about when it comes to the rule changes, the shift. I think, there's going to be people that benefit really well from it. One name that comes at the top of my head, got, $500 million defense down in Texas, but Corey Seager. Corey Seager, the guy, off the top of my head, he predominantly is a pull hitter. Well, you take that guy out of the right field position in the shift, I think Corey Seager has a great year this year. I could see him being an all-star candidate this year just because, he already mashes the ball. But why not, you take that aspect out of the game, you could see his average spike. And I know average is kind of a lost statistic in my opinion.
Right.
But it's an aspect you got to look at. And I think there's some other names, like what I think Minnesota did with Joey Gallo. Okay, Joey Gallo had an atrocious season last year. I mean, terrible. But I think it's a good risk to take as the Minnesota Twins because they're going into the aspect of, okay, I am going to sign this guy. The shift's gone. He's a predominantly pull hitter. Joey Gallo's big, obviously, problem is making contact. But when Joey Gallo makes contact, he smashes the ball. Joey Gallo is a predominantly pull hitter. Maybe he can squeeze out throughout the season, another 20 to 25 hits just with that shift being gone. I think there's prime examples if you go through the entire National League and AL, you're going to look at it and go, okay, maybe he'll benefit. Another name that comes to mind, Cody Bellinger. As a Cubs hater, I don't like I thought, but though you look at it, it's not a bad deal for the Cubs. They signed him to a 1 year, if I remember right off the top of my head, $16.5 million deal. And for someone with the MVP caliber of Cody Bellinger, and you're getting him for that, and someone that, obviously you could go and say, okay, he doesn't make a ton of contact, but we're going to take a risk on him. So when he does make contact, will it be into that shift area? Because he's a predominantly pull hitter.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would say sort of like when you were sort of talking about some of these the shift and stuff, like, is it more just because of okay, hold on, I'm trying to think of these good responsive questions for these baseball for you as a baseball guy. I'm just trying to figure out, I don't know what I'm trying to figure out anymore. All right, what's some here, this is transition to this. How about what are some sleeper teams that you're kind of keeping your eyes out on in both either the AL or in the NL?
So I like to sports game, and I like to see where the value is of teams. And to me, a team in the AL that I'm actually going to be watching isn't in the AL West. I don't think the Angels, the Rangers, and I think the Mariners will get one of the wild card spots. I think Houston obviously has kind of the AL West. I don't like just obviously giving it to Houston, but I think with Houston's talent, I don't really see anyone competing with it. But my team actually in the AL is the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays
Oh,
are
the Blue
my
Jays.
team. I think that's going to win the AL East, and it's either the Blue Jays do it this year or they don't do it. And I am, watching yesterday's game. I'm already a little concerned with that tape for how bad the bullpens for both the Cardinals and the Blue Jays were yesterday. I mean, there was a total of, if I'm probably wrong, but 36 hits in a 9-inning baseball game, and that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Pitching side of things. I mean, but it wasn't just the bullpen. It was Manoah got absolutely raked, who's a Cy Young contender this year, and Miles Michaelis, who got absolutely raked. Both gave up 5 earned runs, and I think Miles was 3 1/3, and then I think Manoah was 3 2/3, just off of just the top of my head. But the thing about the Blue Jays that I really like is you go back to last year, the Blue Jays were the best statistical average team. Obviously, you can get in the debate where, okay, average is a dead thing. And I personally think it is. I think it comes down to slugging, on-base percentage, and driving in runs when, runners are in scoring position. I think those, to me, are the most important stats. And I know from a coaching side of things, when we have runners on second and third for 1 out, no outs, or whatever the case is, we got to get those in. That's how you win a ball game. It's a simple thing. And a guy hitting 340 and getting singles all the time, it's not going to do much. That's the thing with the Blue Jays that I'm really curious to see. And here's the other thing that I think when it comes down to the AL East, it's a tough division. There could easily be 2 teams make the playoffs. Here's what's the killer right now is the New York Yankees. The Yankees, with their starting rotation kind of already on the big decline with injuries, with Rendon hurt. Nestor, I think, has a lingering issue. I think he's on the IL for, can't remember on the top of my head. Frankie Montas, he's on the IL. Just starting pitching that is down. So now you're relying, okay, Garrett Cole pitched a hell of a game yesterday against San Francisco. But after Garrett Cole, the wheels start turning like, okay, who's next? Who's going to be the guy? And if you can't keep your starting pitching healthy, and I know New York has all the money in the damn world.
Yeah, sure do.
If your starting pitching's not there, and that's what worries me as a Cardinals fan, you could have the most talented offense, but you can't always win games based on that without any good pitching.
Right.
You're asking a lot out of your offense. So my big thing is, Blue Jays got some starters. Blue Jays got some guys that want to play baseball. And I think, truthfully, that's the team that's going to win it this year.
I don't hate that take because
and by winning it, I mean just the AL East. I'm not convinced on them winning the whole dang thing. I still think Houston will, but I am confident to say that I am rooting for the Blue Jays to win the AL East.
I don't hate that take, like I said, but like I was in on them last year because I was like, okay, the Blue Jays are going to be pretty good this year, and then they disappointed me. Ben. They disappointed me.
They're the Chicago White Sox. What have the White Sox done since the COVID year? Nothing. And with all the talent that the White Sox have had, it's pathetic. And honestly, one of my future bets of the year is the White Sox. If I remember, 83.5 wins. I'm taking their under. I really don't think they're going to be successful. I really don't. And you can go look at there, and I know we're going spitballing, but the Benintendi signing, I was not a huge fan for them. But at the same time, I don't like Chicago sports, so I am totally fine with that in the long scheme of it. That includes both the White Sox and the Cubs. But I think the Blue Jays have some really big aspirations to win it this year. Now, do I think they are? We'll find out mid-July. We'll see what the Blue Jays are rocking with. But right now, my team out of the AL to win it is the Astros.
Right. I don't see anybody else besides the Astros, besides maybe like even the Blue Jays you said, and then like the Marlins. So I was like, okay, I could see the Marlins making a little nice run. But otherwise, like you said, it's Houston and nobody else.
Exactly. And I don't think, and the other one is like, I don't think the Angels are going to be good. I don't think the Rangers are going to be all that. And don't get me wrong, the Rangers made some acquisitions this year
They did.
to do
Sure did.
decent in their rotation. But here's the thing: I love Jacob DeGrom. I think he's got the stuff to be the best, but injury play. I mean, the man's been injured. You got to speak facts there. And his first start yesterday was not good.
No, it wasn't. I mean, yeah, that's the thing with Jacob DeGrom. He can never stay healthy. I feel like he's got the talent to be such a great pitcher, but like he just can't be on the field, like because he's always on the bench watching his teammates.
And
so,
I think that it's so unfortunate to see. And trust me, because I think Jacob DeGrom stuff, and anyone that is a common baseball fan could agree. You go, holy shit, Jacob DeGrom is electric when he's on the mound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it sucks to see sometimes. But if I were to say that, that's my AL take. NL take, that's a tough one for me this year.
It really is, isn't it? Like that whole league, there's like 6 to 7 teams I could be like sort of convince myself that they could make a run. But at the same time, I know like 2 teams for sure, like the Dodgers and maybe even the Braves are probably like head to shoulders against everybody else. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. And I will say it like this. I think the Braves, hands down, are the best team in the NL. I mean, what they did over there in Atlanta, it was unbelievable. And I got to give him props where props, Alex Anthopoulos did a great job locking up guys till like 2027. So this is not just a one and done Braves team. This is a Braves team that is going to be here for a very long time, and a Braves team that has the talent from 1 to 9 plus starting pitching. That's what is crazy about the Braves, and that they're buying into the culture. That's the other big thing you got to look at with it. But I would say my sleeper team. It's tough to say it, but the Phillies.
Yes.
And I don't.
Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. Come on, let's go.
I don't think the Phillies win the division. I don't.
I doubt it. That division's so tough.
I think I agree. But here's the thing: I think they get second in the NL East.
Okay.
I think the Mets get third, especially after Verlander already on the IL.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's a huge blow. Edwin Diaz already, he's out for the season, which you could go on and we could talk about the WBC for another hour, but I won't do that to you. But I think, the Phillies. I think the Phillies have something to prove. And trust me, that's another sports city that I can't stand is Philadelphia. Anything from basketball, baseball, football. No.
Oh, yeah. That's
but
fair.
I'm going to be realistic. I think the Phillies are a sleeper team. I mean, they got there for a reason last year. And the crazy thing is, it does suck to see Hoskins already down for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Positive was he didn't go on the 60-day IL, which is a big thing. I would also like to see, from that aspect of how are they going to compete with the big dogs. And I think, one thing we got to look at is the NL West and San Diego. San Diego, I really do truly believe is going to win the NL West this year. Don't get me wrong. I do have a theory about the Dodgers and why I don't think they're going to win. But I really think the sleeper team to look out for is the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm in on the Phillies, even though I said it like you said. I'm not a crazy big fan of that sports town, just all that. But anyways, I mean, yeah, you got the Padres, who've got like the 3 big head monsters with Juan Soto, Manny, and who's the other guy?
Fernando.
Yes.
Which I'm curious to see what Fernando will do this year. After the whole PED incident last year. And now that Fernando is primarily going to be playing in right field. I'm curious to see how that's going to go with Juan in left and Fernando in right. I'm curious to see how that goes. But I really do think San Diego wins the division, and I really think the Dodgers. So the thing about this, and I learned this about 2 weeks ago, is the luxury tax with the Dodgers. The Dodgers right now are kind of trying to get under that line where their luxury tax is below what they, and kind of like it resets.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going on the market next year? Shohei Ohtani.
Oh,
Who has
boy.
some of the most money? The
Dodgers.
Exactly. So that's my kind of theory, that they're kind of like, they have the contention pieces. There's no doubt. Like with Vargas coming up, I'm excited about Vargas. I think he's a stud for them. But I really do think, in a weird way, the Dodgers are trying to stay below that luxury tax line so they can get Shohei Ohtani. I think they're going to be a full contender, and as much as I hate to say it, I think they're going to get him next year. I mean, you heard it here on March 31st, 2023. I really think the Dodgers are one of the top contenders to get Ohtani next year.
I don't disagree. I think they're definitely going to be in the conversation if the Angels don't figure out the situation with Shohei Ohtani.
And that's a whole another conversation you and I could have. I mean, the Angels tick me off. It drives me nuts what they're doing with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, two generational talents. I mean, look at last night. They lost 1-2 to the A's, and Ohtani pitched his ass off. Like, how do you not beat arguably one of the worst teams in baseball right now? Like, I just don't get it. And Ohtani pitched his ass off, but of course they lose 1-2. So I really hope to God, and I don't think Mike Trout's about that life. I think he has that Dame Lillard aspect where he stays true with the city.
Mm-hmm.
I want him out of LA. I really do. Like, I want him to go to a contention team because, I mentioned I'm not going to get into the World Baseball Classic, but one of the most electric moments was the finals. Shohei Ohtani versus Mike Trout.
Oh, yeah.
And that was huge to just see from a common baseball fan. And I enjoyed watching that, but that's the closest we've got to electric with Mike Trout. That's ridiculous. Like, I just want him to go to a team, even if it's someone that I don't care for. I just want to see him in the playoffs. Mike Trout's just a dude you can root for, even if you don't like the Angels. And if you don't like Mike Trout, then I'll say it bluntly, fuck you. Like, there's no other way for me to say it, but like, it's tough to see. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been in the playoffs since like 2014. Is that right?
2014 or 2013, if I remember right.
God, that's crazy.
It's a generational talent wasted. And that's the thing that's going to piss me off. It's like, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer and we all know it, but that's going to be the conversation when it comes to him getting all the ballots. Why he's not 100%er because he never made a deep playoff run, but his stats are there. And that's a whole different conversation we could have. Should Mariano Rivera, should he have ever been the first 100%er? Hell no. Should he have been one? Yes. But baseball voters are sometimes, when it comes to Hall of Fame, piece of craps. And like that's a whole different aspect we could get into.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
I feel bad for Mike Trout. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I hope, like you sort of said, I think he's got that Damian Lillard mentality, sort of, where he'll just end up just staying his whole career. And I think if he doesn't say it, I think the Angels need to say it to him and be like, hey, look, we appreciate what you've done to us, but I think it's time for both of us to part ways here. We're going to send you to whomever. Let's just say like the Phillies. I don't know. I'm just saying it because that's where he's from, right? He's Philadelphia.
Unfortunately, but yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I feel bad. It's a talent that we like. The 2010s for baseball was so loaded with talent, but to see him succeed and do everything he's done, it sucks to see him not have any playoff success. I mean, that's just the blunt aspect of it. It just sucks to not see.
Yeah, for sure. So since we sort of like brought up some playoff discussions, who's most likely to make a deeper run? Because even though you kind of said it right before we press record, the Dodgers or the Mets, I think I know the answer.
That's a tough one. I'm curious. It's March 31st. It's day 2 of the MLB season. If I'm going on gut,
and the Mets are currently losing to the Marlins 1-0, top of the 5th.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm going on a gut play, I got the Dodgers, and I'm taking my bias out of it with me not liking anything New York as well. But I think the Dodgers, and what I think comes down to it is, it's a tough one. I mean, it really is, but I just, for no informational reason, I just have the Dodgers. I'm curious to see how my opinion will change come June, July, when maybe we have some health in Verlander. I don't know the full extent of his injury, so I'm not going to comment on it. But I think the big thing is, like, with the Mets is they play in the toughest division in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Will that help them come playoff time? Because they've been playing now. We're dealing with a different scheduling issue, not even an issue this year, but different aspect of playing. We're doing the balance schedules within all 32 teams, so that's a different aspect to it. I'm
Right.
just curious to see. Steve Cohen made some moves. He made some money moves this year. Now, I will say this: if the Mets ended up keeping Correa, and I get the whole physical thing behind it, I would probably lean towards the Mets a little bit more. But I'm gonna have to go with the Dodgers. Now the question with the Dodgers is probably starting pitching. That would be my big what if. And with Clayton coming back on these 1-year deals, what are we gonna see out of Clayton Kershaw this year? I mean, he's kind of at that back end of his career. And don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, I love Clayton Kershaw. He's someone you
Hell of
look
a
up.
pitcher.
Exactly. But I am leaning towards the Dodgers on that one.
Yeah, I think I would lean towards the Dodgers. I mean, we obviously got to see how the season plays out. Then maybe we can change our opinions about it. But yeah, here, let me just go over some quick, some expectations around sort of the teams that were nearby. Let's start with I guess not but I have my cousin's husband or soon to be husband is a Twins fan. So I either want you to set high expectations for them or set low expectations for them. So do as you may with the
March
Twins.
31st, 6:51 p.m. You heard it here first. Twins are winning the damn AL Central this year, and I am.
I mean, is it a shocker though? That division's so horrible. Come on, Rupe.
They're not even the favorite to win. The Guardians are.
The Guardian. Oh, that's true. Okay, that's fair. The Guardians.
Yeah, and
they do have a really good.
That,
they got a sneaky good like rotational pitching staff there.
I will tell you here right now, I am locked in. I've even put money on it this year as one of my futures that the Twins win the division. I think the White Sox get third. I think the Guardians get second. I think the Twins take home the division. I really have high expectations for this year. Live with a guy that's from Minnesota, breathes, eats, and sleeps anything Minnesota. So I get the opportunity to watch them more than anything. I've actually gotten the opportunity to watch the T-Wolves more than anything. They're probably the team I've watched the most in the NBA season. Totally off topic, but I am convinced on the Twins winning the division. Don't know how far they'll go in the playoffs, but I have full confidence that the Twins win that division this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I just want to point out about the Royals because like Ben Lehman always talks to me about how about the Royals and stuff. I'm like, Lehman, they haven't been good in a long time. Just stop.
And they're not gonna be good for a long time.
No.
As much as I hate to say it, like what they did in the 2010s, congrats. Cool.
Congrats.
You can say the same thing about being a Cardinals fan. But no. At one point, I do a lot of gambling. There's a prop you can do where you can have the option of who you think the worst team is going to be, like the worst record wise. I didn't pick them, but they were in my consideration. I ended up going with the Nationals, but no. I think the Royals get dead last this year in the AL Central and in a weak AL Central.
Sorry, Ben. Didn't mean to put you down there about your
totally
Royals.
Fine with saying that to the Royals.
No, I guess not you, not you, Ben. The other Ben.
Oh yeah.
Ben Lehman. Sorry, Lehman. All right, but he knows they suck. But anyways, let's do about your Cardinals. What's your expectations on the Cardinals this year?
Fuck. High-powered offense. High power. I am in love with it. Jordan Walker, congratulations. Welcome to the big leagues, man. Seeing him rip one up the middle yesterday, I texted one of my buddies that I know that is also a huge Cardinals fan, and it gets you amped. Contreras getting taken out yesterday for a contusion. Fuck.
Not great.
I think the big concern, and it's kind of obvious, is the pitching. Like,
yeah.
Maloyzak pisses me off quite a bit. Like, why are we not getting any starting pitching? Like, it just drives me nuts. It really does. And if this was a Cardinals podcast, I could go on for hours and hours about the damn front office of the Cardinals. But I'm not gonna. I have full expectation of them winning the Central. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a hot take of the year
for I love hot Central. Takes.
And I hate saying this, but it's a gut feeling, pure gut feeling. I actually have the Cubs getting second in the Central over the Brewers. Ooh. And actually competing for that 6th wild card spot. That is my hot take of the year. That being said, I don't think anyone catches the Cardinals and how high-powered their offense is. Like, for example, we had Dylan Carlson playing DH yesterday. Outfield is stacked. I mean, my man Tyler O'Neill, love Bro Neal. I just love everything about him. Stays healthy, watch out this year. I mean, you also got him. You've got Carlson. You've got the new kid, Jordan Walker. You got Tommy Edman, who can play anywhere. Brendan Donovan. I do that all the freaking time, man. I call him Billy Donovan. Brendan Donovan, who can play utility-wise anywhere. I mean, you're looking at a Cardinals team that is pretty stacked from 1 through 9. The issue is going to be the pitching. I mean, that's the straight up realizing of it at all. So I think they win the NL Central, and I think they give whatever wild card team that they get paired, because I don't think they'll have the best records to deserve a bye, but I do think that they get out at least the wild card.
No, yeah, I would agree. The Cardinals are probably most likely to win that division. But if they didn't, are you saying it's either the Brewers or the Cubs to win it? Who do you have to pick? Even though you hate the Cubs, and that's fair.
Probably the Brewers if I'm thinking realistically, but I'm still going to stick to my hot take that I'm not going to be surprised if the Cardinals end up, Cubs end up getting that second spot in the NL Central. But I don't think that anyone's going to compete in the NL Central with the Cardinals. But I do want to say this, in about 25, 26 area, that division is going to be stacked with the Cubs, the Reds, and the Cardinals all competing. And I think the Cubs, honest to God, have a very bright future. I think, the guy that I have told my roommate, who's a Cubs fan, my other one, the guy I'm excited to see just from a baseball side of things, Pete Crow Armstrong. And him being in the system within the Cubs, I think he's going to be an absolute stud. Brennan Davis, I have my questions based on his regards with how his back is going to do after having a pretty bad injury last year. But the Cubs have some talent coming through their minor league system that, as a Cardinals fan, you better watch out. And saying it realistically, do I like the Cubs? Hell no. But I'm going to say it how it is, that the Cubs around 24, 25, and 26 are going to be a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, for sure. I got a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. Can Aaron Judge sort of duplicate what he did last season, or was that sort of a one-off with them?
I looked at the questions yesterday that you sent me, and I'm thinking, hell no. Nope. And that was about right before, and the Yankees-Giants was one of the first games to start the day. I actually had a Nerfy that there would be no runs scored in the first inning with the Yankees, and it was a stupid bet. I'll be the first one to admit it. Aaron Judge solo homer.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. Do I think he has another 60 home run season, though?
I mean, that's pretty tough to do. I don't know if he can get to another 60, but I could see him getting 45 to 50.
I could. And this is a tough question because, what he did last year was unbelievable. You really it's crazy to see what he did, even from an outside perspective of not even being a Yankees fan. But to duplicate that 2 years in a row, it would be one of those I have to see it to believe it moments. I don't think he does. Do I think he has a good season still? Yeah, I do. but I don't think he can duplicate what he did last year because that was incredible. I mean, truth be told, it was something that I don't think we see for a little while again.
Yeah. So who's most likely to win MVP, him or Julio Rodriguez?
Judge. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Julio, but I need a little bit. I need to be a little more convincing on Julio. Like I think he has the talent for sure, but I need a little more convincing when it comes to Julio being a star. Like, and that sounds totally grotesque and everything. I just like you can't base someone on the MVP, in my opinion, off the first year of their season. Did he have a great season? Yes. I have my concerns. I think he loves Seattle. He's a great fit in Seattle, but I think realistically, Judge, like, and not even close.
I don't know. I feel like Rodriguez might be the best Rodriguez to ever play for that franchise.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Alex.
Well, when we start on
A-Rod. All right, so let's do one more. I had a tricky one with the NL because I was sort of looking for some long, sort of mid long shots, some good value in those ones with Trey Turner and Manny Machado. Who do you think would most likely would win there? Because I didn't want to pick the Juan Soto because he's obviously the odds-on favorite to win it. I think that's what the betting odds were saying.
So that's a tough.
I was gonna say, do you have a favorite that you like? If the Juan Soto wasn't gonna win it,
I think Trey Turner. Oh man, I do not blame the Philadelphia Phillies for paying him because he is an absolute stud.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is no doubt in my mind with what he does. He's just a stud. I think out of those two options, I have Trey. This year, I just, once again, one of those gut feelings that I'm going to take. I really think Trey Turner has the shot over Machado. Is Machado, last year, it sucked. Machado had a great year.
Mm-hmm.
But Arenado and Goldschmidt, I mean, and you can't argue with the facts on that one. With what those two did, it's tough. It was, Goldschmidt almost won the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the crazy part to me. But I think when you get into it, especially with the MVP, the guy that I actually have got winning NL, that's a tough one. It's to me the NL MVP is tougher than the AL MVP because I think the AL MVP is kind of obvious in Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I really do think we're about to see the craziest deal. Like if he signs somewhere this next year, I think we're going to see the largest deal in sports history.
I think so because he's probably worth. Is he worth the $6 million that people sort of ballparked him in?
He is definitely worth the $600 million.
I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm just saying.
I've got to kind of the obvious. I think he wins the MVP in the AL. What he does pitching and offensively, we're not going to see another play like that for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to judge. And I think Judge deserved it last year and everything. But, I mean, we were having debates at the end of the season. Should Shohei win it? Should Shohei have won over Judge? Now, do I think so? No, I don't. But I think, you'll be able to see from the NL side. Let's see what Acuna does. Acuna's knee. How healthy is his knee going to be? Trey Turner, obviously, I think, is the public favorite, if I remember right. I would probably stick with Trey Turner just for now. But I think come season, it's going to be a close race in the NL compared to the AL.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up here with a couple more questions. One more baseball and one off topic here. All right. So let's assume that Astros are in the World Series. Who are they going up against? or do you not like the Astros to win the AL?
No, I do.
All right.
Like,
So who do you?
I'm
Who's
full
who,
on convinced on the Astros making it back to the World Series. I got San Diego.
San
I really do.
Diego. All right.
do.
I don't hate
Spent
it.
the money, got the talent. I think Dodgers. I don't want to say they're down, but I don't think the Dodgers have the money invested like the Padres do right now. Which, I mean, crazy enough, the Padres are in contention, I think, for Ohtani next year. I've got the Padres versus the Astros right now, in my opinion. And I think just if you look from positions 1 through 9 for the Padres and kind of go around the league, offensively, there's only a few teams that I can think of that compete in that aspect. But I think from a superstar aspect, Padres.
All right. I don't hate it. I think I'm going to go a little off board here with my World Series prediction. And I'm okay with being wrong, but if I'm right, I'm going to take full credit. I'm going to go with in the AL. Oh, man. I mean, I don't really want to pick the Astros, but I'll pick the Astros. And then for NL, oh gosh. I'll go with the Mets. Why not? If they get healthy, the talent's just right there. So, like I said, if they get healthy, they can make a run. So, give me the Mets. Why not? Hopefully, Frank the Tank will have a throw gasig about it.
I live for that. I live seeing his shit get lost, but I'm not convinced on the Mets winning it. I'm not even convinced on the Mets winning the NL.
I mean, I almost want to. No, I'm changing. I'm going Braves. Screw it.
Yeah, that's you're kind of looking at the aspect where it's going to be either or. I really think of the Padres or the Braves. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I'm going on a complete gut pick with the Padres, but don't get me wrong. I still think the Braves have the best chance to win the World Series coming from the NL, but I'm going with my gut of San Diego.
Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap up here with this final question for you. What is the state of Texas Longhorn since you're wearing the hat? I mean, I haven't gotten to talk to you about some Texas stuff. So what's the state of Texas Longhorns?
Love the hire. Love Rodney. I'll be the first to admit that
I agree.
I was wrong. I was completely wrong. At the beginning of when the whole beard incident happened, Rodney Terry stepped in. I was like, the first thing was, who are we going to go pursue?
I mean, yeah, that's what definitely a lot of people's opinions were. And then obviously he did a great job.
To deal with what he did and bring the success of bringing the guys together throughout that entire season, being Big 12 champs in the tournament, and then taking them to an Elite Eight since the first time since 2004. Tip the cap. That's all I gotta say. Like, I was wrong. I really was. I really thought, after that bet, after the beard situation, we were fucked. I didn't even expect us. I thought we would be 7 to 9 seed at the best. Did not expect what we did this year. I mean, to beat Kansas 2 out of 3 times, fuck Bill Self. Yep. I'll say it like that. Kansas basketball can suck one.
Yeah, I agree. They can definitely suck one. I hate those guys.
And I think, the future's bright.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as this pains me to say it, holy shit, dude, watch out for Iowa State. I'm dead serious. I'm not just saying that because you're an Iowa State fan. I'm saying that because there's a difference in coaching between TJ Otzberger and Fran McCaffrey.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, 100%. But as an other, like in Iowa, I would run through a fucking brick wall for TJ. That man is the perfect fit for Ames, and I think he recruits his ass off. I think, the Omaha acquisition coming in, I think that's awesome.
Omaha.
Got actually a chance to watch him play a little bit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. But I was wanting to go see him just to see what he's all about. So I didn't get a chance to do it.
He's going to be a good addition. And I think
I hope so.
the thing that impresses me about TJ is he does a good job. He is Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is Mr. Iowa State. And don't get me wrong, I had respect for Fred Hoiberg, but I think at the end of it,
Oh, he's Mr.
I
Nebraska
think
now.
TJ is going to be the dude that surpasses Hoiberg in popularity.
Yeah, I could see it.
And I know we're on a Texas topic, but baseball wise, they're tearing it up. They're
Of course.
exceeding my expectations. They beat A&M, so fuck A&M the other day. I mean, talk about a disaster of a program, in my opinion. I'm not going to get into the aspects of A&M, but just know I don't care for any sport or any coach that belongs at A&M. I am curious to see how football goes this year.
I was going to say, who do you want at their starting quarterback? Are you a Manning person, or are you a Quinn Ewers guy?
I am an Ewers guy. I really am, and I'm saying it because, don't get me wrong, I'm very excited that Arch Manning is a part of our program and that we got him. But what did Ewers do to lose the job? Like, that's my big thing. I think, was Steve my favorite hire? No. If we're going to go on the aspect of being one of the douchiest programs in all of college, I was actually, truth be told, was rooting for them to get Urban Meyer. Like, I really was at that point. Like, when we were going through the Tom Herman end of his, thank God he's gone.
Yeah.
I was kind of actually rooting for Urban Meyer to be at that spot. Did that work out? Oh, I'm so glad we did not get Urban Meyer.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I don't know. I don't have a full opinion. I'm not a huge Steve Sarkisian fan. I'm curious. I don't know how the football season's going to go. As long as OU sucks, I'm totally fine with whatever. That's my thing. I hope OU can suck one. Now, come SEC time, we are so screwed.
I was just going to mention, are you excited about the move, or you hate the move?
Hell no. And this is actually the thing that ticks me off the most about it is the basketball. Like, Big 12 is the best basketball conference.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who disagrees with you, they're stupid. And then you're adding Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, and BYU to the mix, and we're leaving that. It just drives me nuts because the talent at the basketball level there it's there, and it's fucking exciting.
Yeah.
But we're leaving.
Yep.
So that's what sucks.
I was gonna say, you could blame OU for this thing. So they're the one who started the whole conversation. They're like, they just called you up and like, hey, should we both go to the SEC?
Boomer can go fuck off. That's how I feel about Oklahoma. I can't stand that stupid ass state.
I don't blame you. Yeah, this was fun, Ben. I appreciate you coming on the pod and talking about some baseball and your Texas Longhorns and all that other stuff. So hopefully, maybe sometime like after All-Star break, we'll chat up again, see who's doing great, who's sucking, all that other stuff. So once again, thank you so much for joining the pod, Ben. Is there anything you want to like plug or whatever?
I will be starting a podcast here again, up with my roommate.
Nice.
Baseball Gurus. We're going to be an all baseball podcast. My baseball IQ is good, but my roommate's even better, and I think he brings an excellent topic to the conversation for anyone that loves just to talk about baseball. We'll be getting that started up. We both coach, so it's just we're kind of getting in that transition period and everything, getting everything set up. But we're going to get that started here probably, I would say, in the next 2 months. And I think it's a good, fresh, we bring statistics into play. We bring angles of baseball that you wouldn't be. And we bring up, I don't even want to say arguing, but discussion.
Right.
Like we bring on discussion where him and I will disagree. And I think that brings for a good conversation, make, anyone that's listening go, didn't think about it from that aspect.
Exactly.
So that's probably the only thing I'm going to say. And go Cardinals and go Longhorns.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben, for joining and educating me and my audience on baseball. So hopefully, like I said, we'll bring you back on and all other stuff. So thanks again. Thanks again, Ben.
For sure. Anytime. I'm glad to come back.
All right. See you later, Ben.
See ya.